Hey everybody, what's up, and welcome to another Sims 4 house building video. In today's video, I am so excited to be bringing you guys the house from Bridgerton. This one, my god, was probably the most challenging thing I have ever had to build in The Sims 3. Sims 3? I'm not playing The Sims 3, The Sims 4. And it was just so hard to build, but I think it turned out pretty cool in the end. I'm really happy with it. It was just so challenging for so many reasons. But reason number one being, this house isn't real. And as I say in all of my videos where I'm building something from a TV show or movie or whatever, whenever something isn't real or it's not filmed like on an actual location, like in a real house, it just doesn't come together very well in The Sims. I don't know why. Well, no, I do know why. It's mainly because a lot of the times with shows like Bridgerton, they'll do external shots of the house from like a real life location, or in this instance in Bridgerton they use a real life house and then they combine it with CGI and they kind of make their own version of what this house could be. And then when they're filming inside, they film on sound stages, which is like big interior sets that are built in a warehouse. And oftentimes when they're doing that, they ignore the real life location, so they don't take into account like the placement of windows or the placement of walls or how big a bedroom is compared to the outside of the house, and things just tend to not really line up. So with all that being said, it made for a very challenging build, because when I jumped into this, I wanted primarily the exterior to look accurate, because obviously in the show you don't see all of the interior. You see a lot of it, but you don't see all of it. They do, however, show a lot of the exterior. It's particularly whenever they're like panning to show where the characters are or whatever, they'll show an exterior shot of the house before cutting inside. And I just really wanted the outside of the house to look right, because it is a very iconic house now because of the success of Bridgerton. It's literally, I think, the biggest show on Netflix ever, which is crazy. Yeah, so I just really wanted the outside to look right. So in doing that, I had to sacrifice the accuracy of the inside. Now, with that being said, let me talk a little bit about Bridgerton before I get into the build too much more. Basically, Bridgerton is a Netflix TV show set in the late 1800s? I can't remember. It's Georgian England, way back when. And it basically follows this family, the Bridgertons, and they are a rather large family. I believe it's 8 children, and their father is no longer in the picture. I won't spoil that for you, but I guess saying that is kind of a spoiler. No, it's not a spoiler. You find out in episode 1 he's not there because he doesn't show up. But basically, the show follows each of the children on their journey to finding love. And season 1 focuses on one particular daughter, but it kind of covers a lot of different stories. And then season 2 is about one of the sons. And season 3, which actually comes out today, the day that I'm releasing this video, is focusing on another one of the sons and his longtime love interest in the show. And I'm so excited to watch the show. I'm actually recording this voiceover the day before, and I'm so excited for the show to come out tomorrow. I cannot wait. I will be watching every single episode tomorrow when it releases. Even though they've split it up, they're doing a split premiere thing, which is really freaking annoying. So they're basically releasing like some of the episodes tomorrow and then some in late June, which is very frustrating, but it is what it is. I'm going to watch it all anyway. I don't know why I'm complaining. But yeah, it's basically this high class, high society family and their journey to finding love. And it's a good show. It's like a very simple concept of like people trying to find love or whatever, but it's just told in this obviously Georgian England. It's not like the usual backdrop for a love story. So it becomes very entertaining in that sense, because you're watching something that is so unfamiliar, and it's just very entertaining. And a great thing about the show is that they, even though it's set in Georgian England, it's cast completely colorblind. So there are people of different ethnic backgrounds and ethnicities and everything that typically wouldn't have been in Georgian England, but they're just the best actors for the role, so that's who got the part. And it's, I think, a very refreshing take on something set in such a traditional setting. It's quite cool to see like different versions of these events and how they might have taken place if there was different cultures involved and all these things. It's very well done. So basically, this build that you are watching is the home of the Bridgerton family. And like I was saying, they are a very affluent, upper class, high society kind of family. So their house definitely reflects that. It is huge. And I didn't realize how big it was until I started building it in The Sims, and the immediate regret that I had. But I was like, no, I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to stick it out because I really wanted to build this, and I had so much fun building this. Similar to what I've done in the past, particularly when I built the house from... Oh my god, I just completely blanked on the name. Call Me By Your Name. Oh my god, that was so weird. When I built that house, I kind of made these like custom, quote-unquote custom windows. It's completely Maxis. Like, this build is completely Maxis. I don't use CC in any of my YouTube builds. But basically what I ended up doing in the Call Me By Your Name video was I built these kind of templates for windows where I build a little room, build like a wall, put the window in and any little accessories that I wanted. In that case, I was trying to make like custom shutters for the windows, and then I was able to drag and drop that room with just the window and the shutters around the house, and it just kind of made everything look a bit more customized. And I kind of did a similar thing here in this front portion of the house that you're watching now, that's covered in all of that beautiful wisteria. The windows upstairs and the door downstairs, it's kind of done in a similar way of I used windows and doors from university, and then I built around them with like little wall pieces and decorative objects and things to kind of make them look more built in to the house, if that makes any kind of sense. Basically what I was trying to achieve was just a bit more of an ornate finish, because obviously when you're using objects from like a particular pack or whatever, it's very suited to that style and that style alone. And oftentimes I get kind of frustrated and I want to build more interesting things and have like a bit more detail everywhere. I did a similar thing when I built the house from American Horror Story. I went crazy in that house, putting like little shelf pieces all around the house to make like custom trimming and everything. And I started doing that in this. I can't remember if I included that clip. If I did, you might see a little glimpse of it. But I started putting in like custom shelves to make like trimming around the house at like a custom level or whatever. And I just scrapped it because it was so annoying trying to do it around the curved sections at the front of the house. So I immediately scrapped that and just used like wall trimming. But yeah, I just put a lot of effort into trying to make this as accurate as I possibly could to the show. Obviously, within The Sims, there are restrictions that you can't really get around, like, you know, some walls just have to fit to the grid, and according to the show, there is no grid, you know? So I had to get kind of creative trying to work around certain things and making things work and everything. Also, I used a lot of debug objects and live edit objects, like the ivy you're seeing climbing all around the house. And up on the roof, I did a really cool thing, and I'll talk about it a bit more when we get there, but I kind of lined the roofing with these like custom, quote-unquote custom wall pieces that are from the environment in different worlds. I believe they're from the university pack. I believe the Bridgerton world has these little wall pieces around in the environment, and through the live edit objects cheat, you can get access to those, and I actually put them around the top of the... You'll actually see just there. I'm not sure if I'm at the exact same point in the video as I am in the voiceover, but I just deleted the placeholder fencing that I had on the roof, and I go back in a little later and I put in those little wall pieces all the way around, and it just makes for a really interesting look to the house, and it actually turned out pretty accurate to what it should look like according to the show. Also, I am building on the lot in Bridgerton that I believe it's a library that's normally in this lot, and it just kind of fit the vibe of Bridgerton pretty perfectly. I don't often build in this world because I think it's very, very obviously tailored to university, and I just don't think that it's very easy to fit different styled houses into this world, so I don't often build here. And it's actually a big problem I have with that pack and a lot of the Sims packs, but I'll come back to that in a second. But I decided to build on this lot because it just kind of looks like England. It looks like London, and I just thought that was really cool. The show itself, Bridgerton, is based in Mayfair, which is a very, very affluent part of London, and it's actually where Buckingham Palace is. That whole area is considered Mayfair, and there's surrounding areas and neighbouring areas or whatever that are all classed as Mayfair, and that's where this house is meant to be. And this part of Bridgerton just kind of gave that vibe. Obviously, it's not perfect. Mayfair is much more built up. There's a lot more buildings. I actually used to work in Mayfair, yeah, it's just a very, very built up area. So this is obviously a bit more sparse, but I just thought it was the closest thing that we had to Mayfair in The Sims, and that's why I decided to build this here. As I was saying a second ago about packs, and I had a bit of a complaint that I didn't really talk about, but basically, the reason I never really built in Brightchester is because the world is so tailored to university. And obviously, it came with the university pack. But I think a lot of these Sims 4 expansion packs suffer from this, where the world is such a specific style that you can't build anything but that style in that world. It's why I so often end up building in Willow Creek or Oasis Springs or whatever, because they're just a bit more of a blank slate to me. Actually, before I talk any further about that, these are the roof pieces I was talking about, that kind of like wall trimming that I'm putting in. I'm calling it wall trimming. I don't know if that's the right thing to say. But anyway, about the worlds. So a big problem that I have with places like Sulani, obviously I think it's very beautiful, and obviously it's representing like real culture, like Polynesian culture and everything. But I just find it very hard to build anything but island style houses there, if that makes any sense. And I don't have that big of a problem with it in The Sims 3, because I can't even remember the world's name, but it came with Island Paradise and Isla Paradiso. Oh my god, that just like unlocked in my brain. But for whatever reason, the same logic doesn't apply to that world. And to me, my little naive brain, it's the same kind of Polynesian style. And I don't know, I could be very wrong about that, but to me, it's quite Polynesian. But you can build a lot of styles there, and I think it's just because it's open world, you can get away with things a bit easier, like having a big modern house next to a Polynesian traditional kind of house. It doesn't look as strange because there's more space in between them, whereas in The Sims 4, all of the neighborhoods are so small that you can't build anything but that style, otherwise your house just looks really out of place. And I think the same applies for areas in Windenburg and parts of San Myshuno, and yeah, it just, I don't know, there's something about it. I don't know, let me know if you think the same thing, but I just often find if I'm building anything different, or like something from a TV show or a movie or whatever, I tend to just build in either Oasis Springs or Willow Creek, because they just feel like a blank slate. I don't know, maybe I'm talking in circles, maybe this makes no sense, maybe that's just me being annoying. But it's actually part of the reason why I enjoyed building this so much, because I finally got what they were going for in Brightchester. I think they were really going for that kind of Mayfair look, or that look of Bath, if you're familiar with Bath in the UK. It just reminds me of that, the kind of curved buildings and the very traditional English architecture. I finally got it, and I don't know, maybe that's why I don't really get Sulani, because I've never been to any Polynesian countries or whatever. I don't know, maybe I'm being very stupid about that, but that's just always my opinion. I don't know where I was going with that. I talked about that for like 4 minutes. But onto this build. As you can see here, I'm using more debug objects to create the fencing around the house. And this is something that I actually really, really liked, because I was able to put the fencing in a position that you can't typically do. Actually, you can kind of do this, but if I wanted to, I could have pushed this fencing right up to the edge of the lot, which you typically can't do just drawing in regular fencing in The Sims. I don't know why, but you can't go to the edge of the lot, which is really annoying, but this is just turning into me dogging on The Sims. I promise I like The Sims. I'm not playing it because I hate it. But basically, I decided to use these objects, I believe from vampires. Yes, I'm seeing now, they are from vampires. And I decided to use these just because it gave me a bit more customization. And in this center point, right in front of the front door, there's kind of this arch that is included in the gate that I wanted to include. And it was just an easier way for me to do that and incorporate it with the fencing and everything. So the fence isn't just typically drawn like a normal fence in The Sims. These are debug objects or live edit objects, whichever one they are, I can't remember. And I basically just wanted to do that to give me more creative freedom with it. And I think it turned out pretty cool. It allowed me to get a bit more creative with what I was trying to do, like including these shrubbery like within the fencing. And I actually layer a couple of objects into the fence to kind of give it like this kind of concrete looking foundation that's in the show. Actually, I'm doing it right now. I keep saying that as if we're at the same point of the video. I'm not really sure, because as I'm going, I'm editing this audio and I'm editing the footage separately, so I'm actually not exactly sure which part of the build I'm up to, but I think it's in and around the same place. And basically, it just gave me a bit more freedom to do what I wanted with this. And it made it a bit annoying because obviously I'm working with fixed increments of the fencing. Like, they're these fixed sized objects. So I just kind of had to get a bit creative with how they joined the house. I just kind of repeated the pillar piece that's in the middle of the fencing. It really made for a lot more work for me, but I think I'm much happier with the final piece than I would have been just using a regular fence. All that being said, I should mention that this is such a long build. This is the longest video that I'm going to be uploading to my channel, I believe. I don't think I've ever done anything longer. I've definitely done long builds before. I've done things that have taken more time to build, but I haven't included all of the footage. I included a lot of the building of this. Usually what I do is I figure things out off camera. I kind of make a plan for what I'm trying to do. I actually made a floor plan for this in Photoshop. If I remember, I will include a screenshot of it here, but I basically just wanted to have it all mapped out before I started building, and it just made it much easier. But I typically do that with all of my builds. But what I end up doing is removing all of the footage of me like fiddling with where things need to be or changing like room sizes or floor plans or whatever. And I didn't cut out a lot of this house. I still had to cut out a lot, don't get me wrong, because I believe I had 8.5 hours of footage by the time I'd finished building this. And I think 5 of that was just the exterior, which is crazy because usually I get through the exterior pretty quickly because it's what I prefer to do. And I usually have to spend a bit more time on the interior because I'm just not as good at it. I have to pay more attention to it. But with this one, I actually spent significantly longer doing the exterior of the house. And I'm really glad I did because I think it turned out really, really cool. I'm really happy with it. I think it's coming together so nicely. I should also mention that at the back of the house, I basically just made up whatever I wanted out here because as far as I know, you don't see the back of this house in a huge amount of detail. I know that there's parts where Eloise, the second eldest daughter, spent some time in the backyard in the first season, I believe. And I believe Benedict, one of the sons, also spends some time out here. But I believe that's all at night, and you don't really get like a sweeping shot of the whole backyard. So I just kind of made it up. And to be honest, I couldn't find any screenshots on Google, so that kind of made my mind up for me. And I know that in season 2, there's a lot of time spent in the backyard of one of their other homes. The Bridgertons are very wealthy and they have multiple homes. So one of their other houses kind of loosely served as inspiration for this. A certain part of it, they had this like beautiful little fountain area, I believe. I could be talking out of my ass now. I'm actually not sure, thinking about it, if that was the house from season 2 or if that was just a similar image that came up. I didn't really do any fact checking. It was the first image that I found of a garden that looked Bridgerton-y. And it's just what I ran with. Also, please forgive this voiceover. I'm really trying to get this video finished for tomorrow, and I'm really kind of rushing it at the last minute because I really want to get it out for when the show is actually being released tomorrow. And I have had such a long day. I'm basically just in the door from work, and it's just been one of those days where my brain is just fried. So forgive this voiceover. I'm definitely talking out of my ass for most of this, but nonetheless, this garden is cute. And I put a lot of effort into this. I never really put this much effort into my landscaping. I just never really see the point in putting a lot of effort into the backyard because typically what I'm building are like very suburban, normal, quote unquote, houses. And if it's like a mansion, it's much less manicured than this house is. But this one obviously is a big estate English house. Estate English house? That makes no sense, but you know what I mean. It's a very grand house and very grandiose exterior, so I wanted to imitate that as best I could in The Sims. And thankfully, when it comes to landscaping in The Sims, I do kind of feel spoiled for choice. I do think of all aspects of The Sims, they do really get landscaping right. Let me know if you think the same way, but I often find that if I'm looking for a particular thing, I can usually find it in landscaping. The same cannot be said for things like kitchens or bedrooms or I don't know. Again, I promise I'm not just trying to dog on The Sims. I love this game, but I have a lot of problems with it, especially when you compare it to older games, but I'm not getting into that whole shtick. Everyone talks about that, and you already know what I'm going to say. But yeah, basically, I was really happy with how the exterior turned out. And moving right into the interior, I went straight into this staircase area. I believe I talked about it at the start of the video. I'm not sure if I kept it in because I was kind of rambling and it was a bit of a mess at the start of this recording. So if I didn't talk about the staircase, this is the staircase. And it's very grand. As you can see, it kind of goes up the center and then splits off left and right. And I believe in the show, it's actually a wooden staircase that has a blue carpet running down the center of it. I just had to use the blue wooden stairs because obviously there's no blue carpet covered stairs that really worked here. And I made this really cool like centerpiece with that big mirror, the two columns either side, this like end table with the flowers, and I put some flowers from the wedding pack down by the bottom of the stairs. I'm actually just putting it in right now. I need to stop saying that because I'm not sure where in the video you are. So when I'm saying that, I don't know if it makes any sense for you, but yeah, I just wanted to make it feel very grand. And this is one of the few areas of the house where I think I was actually able to get it pretty accurate to the show. I don't want to say accurate because it's definitely not accurate. Nothing about the interior of this is very accurate. Everything is just a bit smaller than it needs to be, and the colors are off and things like that, but I tried to get it as close as I possibly could. And with the tools I was given, I'm really happy with how this area in particular turned out, as well as the kind of center atrium. I don't think I included any of the footage of me building the center atrium, but you'll see it as I'm moving around the house. It's this kind of central two-story, it like runs up from the ground floor to the second floor, and it has this big beautiful glass roof and all these columns and arches, and it's really cool. I'm really, really happy with it. I'll have some screenshots of it at the end. And yeah, that's kind of the extent of where the accuracy ends with this one. Oh, and the main drawing room upstairs, but we'll get onto that a little later. Beyond that, the interior of the house was almost entirely just made up by me. I wanted to include like certain things like a grand dining room and a kind of dance hall, and I did all of that, but it's kind of based on nothing. I just kind of made it up as I was going along because I couldn't find great inspiration to go off of that would not conflict with the exterior of the house and things. Like this central atrium that I'm actually working on right now, I didn't think I included this footage, but I did. It's much, much bigger in the show. They actually have a whole ball in here in one of the seasons. I believe season 2. And it's just, it didn't really work in The Sims. But I did include a big dance room just off of this. It's actually at the front of the house on the right-hand side. And I think it turned out really cute. I was able to include some things like instruments and a dance floor and one of those like party tables that you can like put food on. I can't remember what they're called. They've come in a bunch of packs. I think the one I used was either from Horse Ranch or the high school pack. I can't remember. And I basically just turned it into like a party room. I think it turned out pretty cute. There's no stereo in there. I tried to keep this house as traditional as I possibly could inside. I used a lot of like spotlights and chandeliers and things like that. Not spotlights, wall lights. I took out the spotlights, is what I was trying to say. My god, this voiceover is a disaster. If this is the first video you're watching of mine, I apologize, but I promise some of my other ones are good. Some of my older ones are crap. Don't watch those, but maybe do, because that's fun. I don't know what I'm saying. Basically, I put a lot of effort into this house, and for what it is, I think it's pretty cute, and I think it's as accurate as I could possibly have made it in The Sims. And also, I should mention, I am using a mod in this. It shouldn't affect the downloadability of this house, but it is the Better Build By mod, I think. It has like all of the settings for the different cheats, like debug and live edit objects and move objects, and you're able to edit the lighting in build mode and things like that. So I was able to edit like the effect that candelabras have. Instead of it being a yellow light, I changed it to a more white light to make the room much brighter. But those are typically not accessible in build mode in The Sims, so I have a mod for that. If I remember, I'll also leave that in the description. I actually just started using this mod, and I don't know how I'll ever build without it anymore. It's just so much better. Oh no, it's the Organized Debug mod. and Better Build. I can't remember. I'll link them all below, but I'm sure you've seen other YouTubers use them. I know that James Turner uses them. I believe Deligracy does. I can't remember, but a lot of YouTubers use them, and that's why I wanted to try use it, because it seems to work for them, and I'm trying to do something similar. But anyway, I think this house turns out really cute in the end. Obviously, as I've said, it's not the most accurate thing in the world. I'm sure there are other people out there that have made videos building a much more accurate Bridgerton house, but I kind of wanted to build my version of it while trying to stay as true to the show as I possibly could. And I think it's cute. I'm really happy with it. I put a lot of effort into this one, and for once I'm just really pleased with the end result. I shouldn't say for once. I tried to only upload houses on this channel that I'm actually happy with at the end. Believe me, there have been many things that I have built and not uploaded because it just turns out crap. And like, for instance, the house from Up, my god, I tried to build that. Never doing that on this channel. It is the hardest thing I've ever tried to build because it's just so Pixar, and it just does not translate to The Sims. It's so hard to do. I also tried to build a house from The Iron Giant, which is really random. I watched that a couple of months ago and I was like, I'm going to build that house. That looks easy. I was so wrong. That is the hardest thing I've ever attempted to build in The Sims. It just in no way, shape, or form looked like the house from the movie. So I was like, there's no way I'm posting this. But if you have any ideas of what you want to see me build next, please do leave a comment and let me know. I do try to build things that people suggest. Whether I've watched the show or the movie or not, I want to try tailor to you guys as much as I can. Someone suggested building the apartment from I nearly said Sex Education, Sex and the City. And if you saw my last build, you know that I did actually end up building that, even though I've never seen the show. Well, I saw the first couple of episodes, didn't finish it because I started watching it with my mom, and that was a really bad idea because no. Do not watch shows about sex with your parents. It's weird. So I never went back to it, but I ended up building it in The Sims, and it turned out cute, even though I didn't know what I was building. I was really happy with it, and it's probably one of the most accurate things I've built in The Sims. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any suggestions, and I would absolutely love to attempt to build them for you. Moving upstairs in this build, I am now doing the main drawing room in the house. I believe it's called a drawing room. I've also heard that it's called a withdrawing room, like where you withdraw from the day, but I don't know how accurate that is because I heard that on TikTok, and don't believe everything you hear on the internet because sometimes you're wrong. And anyway, basically this room is kind of the main focal point of where the family hangs out when they're all together. A lot of the show takes place in this room, so I was actually very diligent in trying to make this as accurate as I possibly could to the show. It's definitely not perfect. This is much, much smaller than it is in the show, and I believe there's less windows, but I just kind of had to sacrifice that because if I was to add more windows, it would have seriously affected the front of the house, which I really, really didn't want to do. I didn't want to have to change the exterior at all. So I had to make some sacrifices, but I think regardless, it still turned out really cute. And I basically tried to make it as functional as I possibly could in The Sims. I included a piano. There's actually, I think, 4 pianos in this house, which is kind of crazy. But when you're trying to fill a big house like this, you end up putting in so much crap. So I think I have 4 pianos in the house, but one of them is in this room. And it's this big, beautiful wooden piano, which is actually in the show as well. I was really glad I was able to include that. I put in an art easel because one of the sons, Benedict, is very artistic. And I believe I put in a chess table, and I might have put in a tea set and I think a cards table, but I can't remember if I tried that, but it didn't work because the style didn't fit. I can't remember, but I tried to include as much as I possibly could to make this as functional as possible within The Sims, and while still keeping with the accuracy to the best I could of the show. Also, another thing to mention, there are a lot of bedrooms in this house. I think there's 8, but I think that there's 9 members of the Bridgerton family. Actually, it might be 7 bedrooms because I think I had to double up 2 sets of the kids. I think 2 of the boys I ended up putting in one room. I'll try to include this at the end. When I'm doing screenshots and I show like an overview floor plan, I might include whose bedroom is meant to be whose. That's definitely not how you say that. Whose is whose? You know what I mean. I'll try identify which bedroom is which, just to show what I was going for. but I did end up including a lot of bedrooms, and it was a lot of work. And I didn't include the furnishing of 2 of them because, to be honest, I got kind of lazy and I used the pre-made rooms from the Sims base game, and I just basically furnished them really quickly because they're kind of irrelevant. You never see them in the show. I was never going to make it accurate. The rest of the bedrooms weren't really accurate anyway, so I was just kind of getting not precious. And I was coming to the end of hours of building, so I just got kind of lazy and wanted to rush it a bit and just get it done. So if you do download this house, which you can, it will be up on the Sims 4 gallery. I will have all of my gallery IDs in the description and all that stuff. If I remember, I always forget to include that, but I'll try my best to include that. And you will be able to download this, make any change that you want. If you want to change the bedrooms to make them more accurate to the show, do. If you want to gut the house and make it your own, absolutely do. You have free reign to do whatever you want with this. And yeah, feel free. Be my guest. I absolutely do not mind. And if you do actually do that, I would love to know what you guys do with these when you download them, because I've actually checked my gallery recently and a lot of my builds have a lot of downloads, which I was really, really shocked by. I didn't think that many people were downloading them, but they really, really do. And if you do download them, maybe let me know in the comments like what you do with them if you do change them, or if you download this and you just want to like recreate Bridgerton, let me know if you do that. That would be really cool. I have seen some people on the gallery have created the Bridgerton family, and I think you might need a mod to actually include all of them, because if I'm not mistaken, there's 8 children and the mother, so that's 9 people altogether. And in The Sims, obviously you can only have 8 people in a household. Also, as the seasons go on, each of the kids end up getting married, and that's more bodies in the house. So if you do end up doing that and like creating the Bridgerton family to move in here, I believe that there is a mod where you can expand the size of your family. I don't know where it is, but check out online. I'm sure you'll find it. And that would be pretty cool. Let me know if you do actually use this as like the Bridgerton house, or if you change it or whatever. Basically, just let me know. I'm just very curious because I play The Sims in my personal free time, whatever, when I'm not making videos. I play it my way, and I know everyone has their own way of playing. I play one of 2 ways. I either play like the very traditional, like, ooh, my Sim got married, had some kids, living the dream life, has a great job in a big house or whatever. And then there's the other side where I play in pure chaos, and I'll create like one Sim who gets pregnant by 10 different people in the town and then keeps all of the fathers in the basement. You know, the typical Sims things. That's just what you do when you play The Sims. I don't know. Let me know how you play The Sims. I'm very curious to know how other people play. It's always fascinating to hear because I didn't always play like an absolute psychopath. It wasn't until I started watching Plumbella and then I was like, damn, this girl's crazy. So I started playing the way she does, and it's just a lot of fun. Also, if you know Call Me Kevin, he's hilarious. If you haven't seen his channel, definitely check it out. He plays a lot of The Sims, and the way he plays is so funny, and it's actually weirdly inspired how I play. But yeah, that's just kind of the fun of The Sims. Everyone has a different way of playing because it's just this sandbox simulation game. So let me know how you play. I'm very curious. Also, while I'm on it, this kitchen, I hate it. This is the worst kitchen I've ever built in The Sims. This does not reflect my ability to furnish, to build, to nothing. It is so bad. I absolutely hate it. I just could not get the combination right. I was trying to use these tiles, and then the tiles mixed with the cabinets looked really busy, and then I put different tiles on the walls, and then everything was blue and grey, and then there was these ugly brown doors, so I tried changing all the colours, and I think I made it worse, and it was just a disaster. There was actually a middle point where I think I got it looking kind of nice. I put in these like brown cabinets, and then I changed the tiles to brown, and I put in a big like stone and wooden fireplace, and then I changed some things back, and I don't know what I was doing. It was a disaster. I do not like this kitchen. Please, if you download it, gut this and make it your own, because I'm sure you guys can do better than this. It's also just a really bad layout. I don't know what I was thinking. Well, to be honest, I was kind of thinking like the Bridgerton family are very wealthy and they probably do not go in the kitchen themselves, so I wanted to make it kind of like a, not servants, that's a really bad way of putting that, like the housekeepers would like be prepping food in there or taking care of the house or whatever. But I just think it just ended up looking weird. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. I did include a little breakfast table with like a cake thing on it, a cake stand or a bread stand or whatever it is, and I think it's fine. It's just not my best work. It's really not cute. This point where it's like kind of brown, I like, and then I change it for some reason, and then I don't like it again. I reintroduced those like ugly blue tiles, and I don't know what I was thinking, but I did it nonetheless. So you get what you get. I also did include a bit of a butler's pantry, which is just like a smaller kitchen off the side of the kitchen that is just kind of an area for like other food prep, and I included some of the appliances that are a bit uglier, like the fire system and a dishwasher and things like that. And I don't know, I just wanted to include it because I had extra space. This room, if we're at the same point in the video, is my favorite room in the whole house. It's basically this little, like, I think of it like a little smoker's lounge. I don't know why, but it's just a little dark room in the middle of the house that has no windows and just a bunch of bookcases. And I think I put in a chess table and some chairs in front of the fireplace and everything. It just looks so cozy. I really like it. This whole section of the house I actually really like. This room, and next door I do a really nice little art studio. And then just off that, there's kind of an indoor garden, which I think turned out really cute. I'm really, really happy with that. And I just really like this section of the house. But with all that being said, I have been talking for 36 minutes now, and I think I might leave it there. This is the longest I've ever spoken in a YouTube video, as far as I know. And yeah, I think I might just wrap it up there. I'll play out the rest of the video with some music and some screenshots at the very end to show the whole build as a whole. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. I had such a good time building this one. I really had a lot of fun. It really reignited that love I have for building in The Sims. It was just a lot of fun. I really hope you guys feel the same way. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you did, remember to like, subscribe, share it with a friend, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Let me know where you're watching this from, actually. I've been doing that in my last couple of videos, and I really like knowing where you guys are from. It's very fun to know that my videos are reaching much further than I'd ever expect them to. Like, I live in London. I'm from Galway in the west of Ireland, and that's a lot of personal information. Don't know why I'm saying that, but it's just weird to me that these videos can reach people on the other side of the planet. I think it's so cool. It's amazing that YouTube has that kind of reach, and it's just fascinating that, like, I'm sitting here in my bedroom talking to my phone at 10 p.m. on a Wednesday night, and there's someone else going to be watching this tomorrow from the other side of the world, and that's just kind of crazy to me. But anyway, I'm kind of talking in circles now. I'm going to wrap up the video. Basically, the rest of the video, I finish off furnishing downstairs, and then I move upstairs to all of the bedrooms. The bedrooms go pretty quickly. I'm actually toying with cutting out some of the footage of those, so it's probably best that I'm cutting the audio a bit early. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video, and I hope you have a beautiful day wherever you're watching this from in the world. And yeah, stay tuned for more videos, hopefully coming soon. And enjoy the new season of Bridgerton. I'm going to leave it with that. God, I'm excited. I'm so excited. But anyway, bye guys. Have a great day, and thank you so much for watching.